Nowhere in Mark, Matthew, or Luke does Jesus actually claim to be God in his own words.
Alex O'Connor says that Jesus never claims to be God in the Synoptic Gospels, but that's just plain wrong. Jesus does reveal his divine identity, but not by running around and saying, "I'm God." Instead, he speaks in riddles and asks questions, leaving just enough for those paying attention to connect the dots. In my last video, we tackled one of Jesus' most controversial lines, his call in Luke 14:26 to hate your family. Pretty shocking, but it was a bold claim to the kind of devotion that only God could demand. Today, we're digging deeper into his identity with two of his boldest moves, a riddle about the Messiah, and a stunning moment in the temple that left the religious leaders speechless. So let's set the scene. Jesus is teaching in the Jerusalem temple, and he drops this bombshell. How can the scribes say that the Messiah is the son of David? That's already a loaded question, but then he doubles down by quoting Psalm 110, a psalm everyone knows is about the Messiah. The Lord said to my Lord, "Sit at my right hand until I put your enemies under your feet." David calls him Lord, so how can he be his son? This is the only time in the Gospels where Jesus explicitly raises a question about the Messiah's identity, and it's explosive. All three synoptics record this moment with some minor differences, but the core point is the same. Jesus challenges the scribes' shallow tradition of calling the Messiah son of David. Now, here is the genius of it. Jesus isn't just rejecting the idea that the Messiah is David's descendant. That's clear from passages in the Old Testament like 2 Samuel 7 and Isaiah 11. But Jesus is exposing the fact that the scribes are missing the bigger picture. Psalm 110 doesn't just call the Messiah son of David, it calls him the Lord of David. David, under the Spirit's inspiration, refers to the Messiah as my Lord, and by quoting this psalm, Jesus makes it clear the Messiah isn't just David's descendant, he's his superior. He's the king seated at God's right hand and a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. And Psalm 110 hints at something even greater. From the womb of the dawn, like the dew, I have begotten you. The Messiah isn't just begotten of David, he's been begotten by God from eternity. With one question, Jesus drops a bombshell. The Messiah is both David's Lord and the pre-existent Son of God. The crowd is amazed. Mark says that they heard him gladly, while Matthew notes that no one dared ask him another question. And that's not all. Let's jump to Matthew 21 for another jaw-dropping moment. Jesus rides into Jerusalem to shouts of Hosanna to the Son of David. Later in the temple, children are still crying out his praises, and the religious leaders are furious. They demand that Jesus put a stop to it. But instead, Jesus leans into it. Yes, have you never read? Out of the mouth of infants and nursing babies, you have prepared praise? Here's why that's massive. Jesus is quoting Psalm 8, a psalm that's clearly about Yahweh. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth, who have displayed your splendor above the heavens. From the mouth of infants and nursing babies, you have established strength. This psalm is all about praise meant for God, and Jesus applies it to himself. He's not just accepting the kids' worship, he's owning it, making a bold divine claim right in the front of furious religious leaders. So when Alex O'Connor says Jesus doesn't claim to be God in the Synoptics, he's missing the point entirely. Jesus makes divine claims over and over, but he does it in ways that tie directly to the Hebrew scriptures, forcing the audience and us to wrestle with who he really is. I'm not done. Stick around for the next video as we unpack more moments where Jesus reveals his divine identity in the Synoptic Gospels. We'll see you there.